Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Rose.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
Welcome to our new edition of Big Brother 27 live feed spoilers. We are here in day 16 of the game. And
hmm
yeah, I know there's an eviction coming up in a little bit more than 24 hours, and we're going to get into all the scenarios that are happening there.
hmm
But in addition to that, there's another story going on this season, and that is the story of there are just a lot of people right now who just do not like each other.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to make for a pretty messy, fighty kind of season. I mean, there's a lot of fights that are just like bubbling at the surface right now that any minute they're just going to completely boil over.
Yeah, like we've already got a lot of confrontations. We've already got a lot of uncomfortable conversations. And yeah, it does sort of feel like the water has been turned on. It's boiling. We're waiting to put the pasta in. It just feels like we are at this point where things could get really, really crazy. And of course, for all of us who are live feed fans, this is what we want, because whatever fight they're going to put on TV, it's always going to be like the condensed, I don't know, 2-second version of it.
Yeah, of course. For us, the live feeders, we'll get to see the whole thing.
Yeah, no, we're going to have a lot of fun talking about everything in the house from the past 24 hours, including we have what I believe now to be the unholy trinity of bad players who I want
hmm
to see be a part of this game for some measure of time.
Absolutely.
Before we get into anything more here, though, be sure to hit that subscribe button because we are here throughout all of Big Brother 27 with the live feed updates. We're breaking everything down for you guys. We're having a great time. We love hearing from you in the comments. We also, by the way, we are in the midst of covering Dexter Resurrection on Showtime. If you are a
hmm
fan of the greater Dexter universe, or you haven't even seen Resurrection yet, like you really, really should. It's very, very good.
Absolutely. We also have Twisted Metal coming up. We're covering the new Stephen King show, The Institute.
Yeah.
Alien Earth is going to be coming up. So hit that subscribe button. Be here with us for all of it. Also, we're having more Big Brother discussions
Mhm.
over on our Patreon right now. I'll leave a link for you below if you want to join that. It's another great way to help support us. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. We really, really appreciate that. Okay, so we'll start with the state of the vote right now because
Mhm.
we have Will, Adrian, Amy on the block. One of them's obviously leaving tomorrow, and it's going to be dependent in part on what happens with the BB blockbuster, of course.
Absolutely. But it does seem like no matter who is up against Will, Will is very likely not going home if he stays on the block.
Yeah, like that is a cause for celebration. It feels like Will has a lot more game to be played. I
hmm
think if it's Will versus Amy, it's going to be pretty decisive that Will stays. That's going to be one of the biggest consensus votes we have.
Yeah.
If it's Will versus Adrian, I think it could be a little bit more dicey. Will's still going to stay. It might end up being close to unanimous, but if that's the case, it's probably only going to be because some people end up doing the insert big sigh here, voting with the house. Everyone's worst case scenario for watching the show.
Yeah, I mean, this last vote, people are still talking about the votes and still talking about who voted who here and who voted for what. And it's just like, this is why I've always been like a big supporter of just keep your votes to yourself. That way people are able to not have to be kind of forced into, oh, well, we don't want to look like we're not voting with everybody. We don't want to show where our alliances are. You know what? This is why it's a private vote.
Okay, so here are some of the campaigns that are happening right now. Like Amy's done some, but she's also getting a strong push from Rachel. And of course,
Mhm,
we know Rachel would like to keep Amy from the sake of having another number in the game, but
mhm.
she's not going around and putting it that way. Like her whole modus operandi here is telling people that, okay, you know what? Amy, we have Big B comics later this season. Amy's
Mhm.
BB comic could be Super Pawn. Well, she's not putting it in that way. But anyway, her argument is just that Amy can go up on the block almost every single week. And you know
Right.
what that means? You may not be going on the block because that's one person who's taking up a spot. If you get rid of Amy, then all of a sudden that becomes clear more people have to be nominated.
Yeah, and that's a really good argument. I mean, even on the last season of Traders, which is something that we
Yeah.
cover here at the channel as well, I was introduced to Wes from the challenge, who I don't watch the challenge, so I'd never seen him before. But one of the things that he said in that game is just something that really resonated with me, and I think probably resonates with a lot of other players on all these competition shows, is it's the game of not me. How can I make sure that I'm not the person that's the target on the block, going out the
Mhm.
door? It's not me. So I feel like this is a fairly solid argument to be like, if it's Amy going up every week, then that is one spot that is not me.
It's probably a better argument than Amy herself is going to be making over the next 24
Right.
hours. I mean, it is funny you bring up the challenge because Rachel has sort of been throwing out there this thing, oh, Adrian will be fine. He's young. He's a threat in this game. He can just go on the challenge. And it's just sort of like,
Right.
not everyone who's on Big Brother needs to go on the challenge. I know there's been a lot of people who cross over. It's just, I'm not a huge challenge guy either. So, I mean, it's not going to be that exciting for me.
Yeah, I feel like Adrian's not going to be going on the challenge.
I feel like there needs to be a separate show for Adrian, and I'm not entirely. Can he go in some sort of like woodworking competition where he builds more fake walls to put himself up
Hmm.
against? Okay, so at this point, Morgan's tried to campaign a little bit for Amy overnight as well, but Adrian has his own champion in the game right now, and his champion is Zach. And Zach, okay, Adrian's already told Zach, that he's his number one in the game. I mean, if I said the drink however many times someone has said Zach is their number one, we would all probably be on the floor at this point.
Yeah.
But ultimately, Adrian is getting some element of support from Vince as well. Keanu kind of wants to, but Keanu, in a rare moment of lucidity for Keanu in this game, and
Yeah.
we'll get more messy Keanu later, he has basically advised Vince and Zach, it's like, listen, I know you guys want to push for Adrian, but you can't go around and be like, oh, here is a competition threat, because it's like, that's just going to make people want to get rid of him. It doesn't matter if you're trying to frame it in, oh, he can protect you. It's like, nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah, and while he has come in close to first, he hasn't actually landed first at this point.
No, he hasn't. So another interesting person, though, who has kind of sort of been in Adrian's corner through a lot of this is Mickey, who Mickey has felt at times to be sort of like his coach, and is like, okay, here's what you need to do. Here are your people you need to talk to. Here's how you need to. So it's kind of cool that Adrian has that, but here's a tricky thing about it, is that in the process of all this campaigning, Zach has continued the spread that Mickey most likely has this third power. He's talked about it with Lawrence. He's talked about it with Vince, and it's sort of like, okay, if Mickey eventually finds out that Zach's been doing this and Zach wants to keep Adrian, is this gonna make her not want to keep Adrian anymore?
Yeah, it's just not helpful right now. I mean, right now the focus just needs to be Adrian. If she has the power or doesn't, we know she does, but he doesn't. But, if she has it, this is not the time to really be running around exposing it. It just doesn't matter right now.
Yeah.
You can deal with it after you either save Adrian or you don't save Adrian, or Adrian saves himself, because he has actually been out there having these one-on-ones with some people that he thinks he might be able to work a vote with, and he's been doing a really decent job. We're very proud of you.
Yes, we are. We have a very I don't protective instinct of Adrian in a way where he just feels like a family member who's coming up in the world, and we want him to get off to a good start
Yeah.
in life. But I think he's doing what he can. He has some people in his corner. I mean, at the same time, Lauren's also advising people like Zach and Vince, where it's just like, yeah, I understand wanting to keep Adrian, but if he's up against Will, we might have to, once again, go with the house here, because we don't want to stick our necks out and end up being in the minority of a vote, and then everybody is like looking at us. Like, I still feel like Adrian's most likely going to end up winning this BB blockbuster, but you never know.
Yeah, I understand people don't want to have their games, put on blast, and we'll talk about Kelly later, but, with the votes and everybody in everybody's business about the votes, but besides the heavy hitters, which isn't really an anything as far as I'm concerned, it's just, it's whatever, it's all gonna fall apart. There's no real major alliance that's just steamrolling everything, so this just feels like a season where people don't have to vote with the house, because who is the house? Usually the house is a major alliance.
Please, Big Brother gods. Please, Allison Grodner, do whatever you can to make sure this vibe stays, because it's like, Split votes, way more fun. That's why I think this season has a lot of potential. Also, people not necessarily wanting to listen to the HOH. Like
Mhm.
Jimmy more or less wants Adrian gone, but that doesn't mean that Jimmy is going to get what he wants at this point. And it would be funny if Adrian finds out later that Jimmy did want him gone because Jimmy promised him safety. And then we get into a lot of distrust and drama that's coming out at that point.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's what's happening with Will. He doesn't have a lot of champions fighting for him, but he doesn't really need it. Like Will's just a good social player. He sits down, especially with a lot of the women. He has talks with
Mhm.
them. He makes them feel good, and that's why he's in a pretty good spot here regardless. Now, the whole Amy versus Adrian thing, like we can still kind of sort of put this in too close to call, but it feels more and more like Amy could be in really big trouble, and we're gonna try to spell this out.
Yeah, I'm personally fine with that at this point. I feel like if she's plucked out of the game, that it will cause more messy drama with someone like Ashley, who is, they're really dependent on each other. So if
Yeah.
one of them goes, the other will likely spiral.
Yeah, and even if you are a Rachel fan, and we understand we're Rachel fans as
Mhm.
well, I don't think Amy's really bringing that much to Rachel's game. I think it's more interesting
No.
if Rachel has to sort of pivot elsewhere. But the big problem with Amy right now is that obviously Vince, Keanu, and Zach are very, very pro Adrian.
Right.
Catherine and Lauren don't like Amy, and that's going to be a big problem there. Kelly is most likely going to go with the guys because she hasn't gotten
Yep.
along with a lot of the women this season. Riley's probably just going to do whatever Catherine tells him to do at this point.
Mhm.
And Mickey is Adrian's coach. She's
Right.
probably going to want him to stay. She's kind of been talked about like a swing vote, but I think that she wants Adrian to stay depending on what ends up happening moving forward here.
Yeah, I mean, there's still time. It's, early on Wednesday morning, the vote's not till tomorrow evening. So there is time with it being kind of possibly close that it can move around.
Here's another thing that I really like about our guy Adrian
Hmm.
here. He talks to us. I cannot
Yep.
stress this enough to all of you future Big Brother players who are watching this video and are going to go and shout us out in the house. Like, here's a very important bit of advice. Talk to us. We're going to love it because we very rarely ever get real insight into somebody's head. Adrian practiced a lot to us what he wanted to say to a lot of people, including that Keanu is a big target. His target is everybody's target, but it's just like you want to tell people what they want to hear. So, kind of listing off people he would want to go after and also people he wants to talk to. He's
Hmm.
gone and talked to Jimmy to try to reassure him that everything is good between the two of them.
Yep. Just make sure that if you are talking to us, the live feeders, that nobody is listening. Be careful. Don't pull a cliff where you're yapping on and people are hearing your game. Be smarter than that.
That was so funny.
So
I
bad.
vaguely forgot about that.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
Like, people who are super fans know that we're all watching and that we're wanting to have you participate with us. And so far, that hasn't happened with Adrian, but just be careful.
Yes.
Don't let anybody hear you.
Here's the other thing with Adrian. It's just that I feel like Adrian has potential in this game, that he could still be going places because it's just he's socially awkward,
Hmm.
but he's not blissfully unaware. He
Hmm.
recognizes, this is a good example of it, that Zach has mentioned to him Lauren being a free agent within the game. And
Yep.
Adrian has kind of took that to mean, oh, so if you think she's a free agent, that probably means that you know of some sort of big alliance that she's not a part of, so you're probably in that big alliance. Now, we know that the heavy hitters, it's not huge. It's basically just like 5 or 6 people, but it's a big alliance, compared to everything else that's going on this season.
Yeah, if it's gonna stay together,
Yeah.
because at this point it feels like they're already kicking people out of it. Like, it feels like the bomb squad, where it's like, oh yeah, we're all together. Oh, but now we're kind of out on Riley, so bye. It's just like, that's not how alliances work. Either you're in, all hands
Yeah.
in, we're doing this, or you're not doing this. And that's why I just don't take it that seriously.
Here's the other good thing about Adrian is that he had a talk with Rachel overnight, and here's how you approach Rachel. Number one, calmly. Number two, with affection. You can't make her seem like she's being confronted, because then her back's going to go up and then she's going to let loose on you with the fire of 1,000 suns.
And that is just good advice for anyone you're talking to in
Yes.
this house.
Yeah, he basically explained to her why he struggles sometimes to communicate with her, that she's intimidating. And yeah, I get it. Rachel can be very, very intimidating, but I think that it's not necessarily the sort of thing that's going to make her all of a sudden ride for Adrian over Amy, but it's the sort
No.
of thing that moving forward could prove dividends, because it might make Rachel think, okay, Adrian's not necessarily like fully against me.
Yeah, for sure. And if that's the case, and let's say Amy does go, then Rachel is going to need to adapt and pivot, which is something that, she's pretty good at. So
Yes.
she will then maybe be able to bring Adrian in.
Okay, so before we get too much off of Adrian here, one more interesting little tidbit here that Coach Mickey told Adrian, that she doesn't necessarily feel like Zach should go that far because Zach already has that money. So that advantage early on in the season coming back to bite him. We
Mhm.
also know that Zach has information on Mickey. Like, that's an interesting situation to watch between the two of them.
Yeah, it is bubbling up. I mean, Mickey doesn't know that there's a power that's really attached to that money. And
Mhm.
I mean, that's probably what production was sitting back being like, oh, we'll give this money and that'll make him a target. And no one will know that there's this special ability that he can basically pay out that money and piece out of being on the block at this point.
Yeah.
And that will make it actually come into play. And I think that's what they were really hoping for.
Yeah, that production wants mess. We want mess. A
Yep.
rare instance of us in production being on the same page. But since we've brought up the heavy hitters, a quick note here, especially since you also brought up people being kicked out of it. Riley's basically kicked out of it at this
Yeah.
point. Like everybody else, Jimmy, Morgan, Rachel, Zach, Vince, like they're all meeting now without him. One thing that's kind of interesting, and we can put our tinfoil hats on for this if we
Mhm.
want. Does Rachel know that production thinks that this is the only alliance that matters? Because it's kind of interesting when the heavy hitters meet. Like, she makes sure that she has a specific fit. Like, she's trying to make sure she's dressed up a certain way because she kind of feels like these discussions are the ones that are going to be on the show.
Yeah, and I think she's right because there is no other real big alliance that could be put onto the show. Like again, I just don't think that it's going to hold together because it's so early on. They're already basically bouncing Riley out of this alliance, and it's not really the way that alliances are supposed to work. Once you're starting to kick people out, it's falling apart.
Okay, let's now move into the great ice cream parlor of delusion here. We've got the door open, and
Yep.
it looks like Keanu is coming in. Keanu's gonna order 3 scoops of ice cream for us because he's got a healthy appetite for delusion.
He absolutely does.
Keanu's got a rare case here of HOH-itis for someone who's not actually the HOH. He thinks that because he's off the block now, and because he thinks that he and Jimmy are good,
Mhm.
they're not good. He kind of is just strolling around the house, feeling like he's kind of sort of running things now, that he knows everything that's going on, even though everyone still wants him out. Will even had this moment where he just kind of said, everyone wants this dude out, and he doesn't know it, and he still thinks that he is in this really, really good place, and he has no real awareness of this, Keanu, because it's like players are just indulging him. They're just
Right.
talking to him. They're telling him what he wants to hear, and he just doesn't have social awareness that he will sort of walk up to people and either the conversation will change or they'll all kind of have this, Keanu is here again look on their face.
Yeah, and I think for him, with not having that social awareness, but also being in the Big Brother house where people are feeding into him, making him feel like he's okay, everything's gonna be all right, he doesn't have any other information, right? And in the Big Brother house, because people do sort of pile on affection and make sure people think that they're okay, you don't know. He could be the HOH next week, right? So
Yeah.
you have to play the game in that way where you don't make him feel uncomfortable when he comes in or awkward or that like people don't like you or don't want to be around you. So yeah, Yeah, of course he's in the delusional ice cream parlor because he's being fed that. They're like, "Here, have all the ice cream. You know, we want to have ice cream with you. We really like you. You're part of all of it. Yeah, whatever you say," because nobody knows what's going to play out.
Here is where we get into the unholy trinity of Big Brother 27, where this is not an alliance, but it should be an alliance for all of us as viewers, where we have Keanu, Ashley, Kelly. All three of these players are abysmal at the game. Like, none of them are even remotely good. But at the same time, we kind of need at least one of them, if not two, to make jury. Because, like, let's throw another analogy out here. Because Jess and I, we cover a lot of scripted stuff. And in our scripted
Yes.
stuff, we have talked a lot about my love of heist movies. And one of the things that's
Mhm.
very important about a heist movie, everyone has to have a role. You have the driver, you have the muscle, the heavy, you have the person who plans it all out. And then you have the wild card, the person who at some point may burst into the bank and be like, "Hey everyone, I'm Squidward. Give me all your money." Or like they might just barrel roll out of the armored car when they're driving
Absolutely.
away. And
Yeah.
it's like, these three are the wild cards. We never know what they're going to do. We need them to stay in the game.
They are the messy trio, and they definitely have to stay in the game at least until jury, if not longer. I'm, of course, worried because when you're messy, you usually get targeted, but it's all dependent on what's going to happen with this next HOH, and there always is the blockbuster.
Yeah, okay. So, Ashley, even if you are in the unholy trinity, occasionally you do come up with a good read. So,
Yes.
Ashley saw Morgan, Zach, Vincent, Jimmy talking a lot late Monday night, and
Mm-hmm.
she now has a little bit of trust issues with Morgan. And she also was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, okay, are these people really working together? Like, she even told Adrian a little bit, but also actually clocked that, oh, Vince has kind of his hands in every pot. Vince is actually really running a lot of things in this game.
She has her detective hat on and it's working. She is noticing that they are meeting, that they're meeting more than once.
Yeah.
And she is really noticing my guy Vince here, who is playing a really good game. And even though she's noticing that he's got his hands in a lot of pies, it's a bit too late at this point
Yes.
because he really has been spending, we're on day what, 16 now?
Yeah.
He's been spending an awful lot of time cultivating those relationships and building those relationships. So if you're just noticing now, you're at the game too late.
Ashley is also kind of just like the player who cried wolf at this point, where if you say enough stuff, nobody's really going to trust what you say
Mhm.
anymore. And that's sort of a part of her problem. It is really funny, though, because I get this vibe that Ashley is now like, I'm never going to sleep again because I want to see if these people continue to meet up. And she did see that, oh, Morgan, Vince, and Zach, they talked again late last night.
Mhm.
So beyond all this, though, here is where Ashley goes back to the Ashliness of it all because she has this conversation with Katherine late last
Oh my
night.
God.
Lauren's also there, and like Ashley kicks off this conversation is basically like, "Where do you think you stand in the game?"
Yeah, Ashley is just coming for this confrontation at this point, and I understand why. This is all going back to Showergate,
Yes.
where I laid it out that I felt like everybody had a role to play in that. I felt that Vince did, I felt that Ashley did, and Catherine absolutely did. If she had a problem with what happened, then you go to Ashley and you speak about it. You don't wander through a room filled with people where everybody just met and start calling out Ashley unless you're looking to stir the pot and create an enemy here. And that is what has happened. This is bubbling and is absolutely going to turn into a confrontation, like a full-blown fight at some point.
Yes.
Because if you're Ashley, then, and this is just not good gameplay in general. Kelly's basically doing the same thing, being like, I see you, your
Yes.
long game is this, you're doing this. And people are like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
you're calling out my game. She's coming at it in a similar way. She's not like, I'm clocking your game, but coming up to somebody that you do not really get along with and you don't really have any relationship with and being like, so why don't you tell me your game in front of this other person? Like, just lay out what you're doing. It's not great. It's gonna get Catherine's back up as well. And she kind of tried to jellyfish her way out of it the best that she could without giving out information. But I don't know what Ashley was expecting. If Ashley actually thought that Catherine was going to be like, "Oh, this is my game, ABC," or if she was just doing it to make Catherine upset, uncomfortable, stir the pot, get in her head.
These two just shouldn't talk. Like, if I'm gonna be totally honest here, I'm just like, you know what? Unless one of you has a serious game conversation that needs to be had with the other, where you can go there with concrete evidence that 100% the other person is gonna believe, you guys just don't like each other, and that's okay.
That's fine.
I don't think you're gonna be friends outside the game. Catherine comes across as pretty passive aggressive. Like, she might as well be Killer Frost in the game because she's such an ice queen to a lot
Hmm.
of people. And she's a really interesting player to me because I feel like production entering this game, they probably cast her because they thought, she's a server, she's gonna
Hmm.
be bubbly, she's gonna probably have a showman, she's gonna do all these things, and she's just very cold and off-putting, and it's just like nobody really seems to like being around her that much. And it's just
Yeah.
like Catherine's not even making eye contact at times with Ashley in this conversation. She just gives off this "don't talk to me" energy, which is just like nobody really wants to be around that. Like, Lauren's kind of close to her, but I feel like Lauren's also trying to get other options going.
Yeah, here's the thing is like Catherine, I thought Catherine was going to be playing a very different game because of her job. I thought that she was going to know when to put it on for
Yes.
people because that's part of her job, right? It's sort of what we were saying about Mickey as well. She's an event curator. She knows how to give people what they would like, make all their dreams come
Yeah.
true, tell people what they need to hear to feel like they're going to have the absolute best day of their life. And she is doing that. She's very good at it. But Catherine is not doing that, and she
No.
has a similar job where she is supposed to be making people feel really good about their night and what they're having and what's going to be going on. I understand it with Ashley. She doesn't want to make eye contact with her. She doesn't want to be in the room with her. These two don't like each other. The vibes aren't there. They're not
Yeah.
vibing. No problem. You don't need to talk to everybody in the house.
Yeah.
That's why it's like the big alliances don't necessarily have to happen. You can just vibe with the people you want to
Yeah.
vibe with and move forward and win this game. It happens all the time. It's a lot of why you do see duos at the end of the game, the hitman and so forth, where they get really far in the game or all the way to the end. It doesn't have to be a huge alliance. So you two just need to stay away from each
Yes.
other. It'll be okay.
And Catherine, you have a very interesting ability this game to potentially go on the block moving forward. Not because you're a threat, but just because people don't care about you in the game. And a lot of people just don't really like you. I mean, Catherine and Lauren talk that they don't really trust Morgan, Mickey, Rachel, and Amy. And honestly, it feels
They
like
shouldn't.
yeah, it feels like the feeling is pretty mutual.
Yeah.
I think any hope of there being a women's alliance between all of them is just like gone out the window, set on fire. It's over.
Even the rest of them that are kind of in this women's alliance, they're all turning on each other. This women's alliance is not a thing that's happening, guys.
No, it's really not. Okay, so since you brought up Kelly, we have to now. We've talked about the other members of the unholy trinity. We have to complete the cycle now.
Absolutely. Welcome to the ice cream parlor.
Kelly has told Ashley, she basically did this. Walked up to Ashley. You know that Jimmy considered you as a possible replacement nominee, and then she just leaves.
It's so awkward and so weird. And I know she's trying to stir the pot. She's trying to get
Yes.
airtime. She's trying to play this really messy game. And
Yeah.
she is, but as a viewer for me, like I really like messy. I'm a
Yeah.
messy bee. I love watching mess. But this just feels so cringy and awkward every time I see it. I'm just like, I just actually feel uncomfortable watching it.
Yeah, I would rather Ashley and Keanu stay in the game over Kelly. If we have to lose one of these three, I think Kelly's the most expendable to me.
It feels forced. Like it just doesn't feel genuine and kind of natural in a way.
Yeah.
Like there's awkward, messy people like Keanu who just feel like this is naturally the way that they are. And I appreciate that. It's one of the things that, besides mess with Big Brother, one of the things that I like about it, of why I started watching in season 1 in the first place,
Mhm.
is to just watch genuine people being themselves, whatever that's going to be. But this feels a lot like she's trying to put on a show, and it feels that way with Jimmy as well, which is why I'm not vibing with him either.
Yeah, it just Kelly's so odd because it feels like she hibernates in the house for like 8 hours And then she wakes up and is just, I'm
Puts on a show.
yeah, I'm gonna do something now, and then she goes away again. Like the funniest thing that she did overnight, and this was I will say this made me laugh, is that she's up on the balcony outside and she's just like yelling at Riley and just being like, how do you feel about Katherine? Not a lot of people trust her, by the way, especially Morgan. And then Morgan just comes out a minute right after the fact.
It's so uncomfortable.
Why? Why are you doing this? It's just, I think Kelly, okay, I know what it is. Kelly, you just want to be Tucker, and I just feel like you have no real game for yourself, so you're just trying to mimic Tucker, and it's like, it was fun the first time with Tucker because nobody had played like Tucker really before in the modern version of Big Brother, and it's like, the new car smell is gone now, Kelly, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, and for me again, it just feels forced.
Yeah, but after that whole incident, Riley did go on a bit of an emotional tailspin. He had this long conversation with Catherine. We've already talked about how uncomfortable Riley makes us feel with these because
Yes.
he will alternate between, like, you know, oh, am I putting a target on your back? And then he'll be like, you're the greatest person I ever met. I want to, okay, he's not saying I want to marry you, but he might as well be like, I want to marry you and start my life with you, right? It's just, he goes back and forth, but then Catherine just kind of stays there and indulges him. Like, I've heard some people be like, oh, Catherine's leading him on, but it's just like, what is she supposed to do in this situation? She wants to keep him as an ally, as a number. She doesn't want to be with him, but like, it's a really hard position for her.
Yeah, I don't agree that she's leading him on. I just don't. Like, I haven't. Uh, I just think that it is extremely awkward for women in this house when a
Yes.
guy is love bombing her the way that he is, and she is in a game for $750,000.
Yeah.
There is nowhere for her to go. She can't get away from him. She is supposed to be having allies. She is on the outs. It's fine to listen to what he has to say. She's kind of stuck in that position. If she ends up telling him, you know, you're creeping me out, you need to leave me alone, now she's a target. She
Yeah.
goes to production, hey, this guy's kind of crossing the line a little bit, I'm feeling really just uncomfortable with it, can you help me? Sure. Now she's a target because they're going to pull him in and be like, leave her alone. He's going to be like, oh, okay, she must have spoken to production and now she's a target. It's no matter how she deals with it, she's a target. And it's just, it's really unfortunate because it's really exasperated by the fact that she can't just leave the situation. This isn't like life where if a guy is doing this, you know, in some cases, a woman is able to just be like, and I'm just gonna leave out the door.
Yes.
See you never, right? She's not in that position. She is stuck in the house with him. And we've seen this before in these types of situations. People said that about Amber too. Oh, well, she's leading him on because she's not just, you know, straight shutting him down and being like, no, I don't want to be with you. She ended up getting targeted and kicked out anyways. It just doesn't seem to matter.
Riley, you can go. I do not want to watch you on the feeds. I do not want to see you on the show.
No, I'm not into this.
It just makes me uncomfortable. And it's also like, you're not going to win. I just feel like I'm not even the biggest Katherine fan here. It's just sort of like, I at least want her to have a fair chance where she can not be distracted by Riley. And then she can just go and fight with Ashley and give us entertainment.
Yeah, I'm not a Katherine fan at all, but I am absolutely not a fan of this. Like, if you're going into the Big Brother house, girls, guys, feel the vibes. Understand if it's there or not. You can't be 16 days in and be like, I'm just going to throw away my whole game for you. I want to be with you. I want to marry you. But basically, he's just like, I'm willing to lay out everything for you. You have to have had that reciprocated before you're just laying everything out like that. Like, understand the social dynamics of being in this house with people and that you have to continue to live with these people. Understand whether they're into you or not.
And with that, we will conclude this edition of Big Brother 27 Live Feed Spoilers. Thank you guys, as always, for hanging out with us. Thanks for helping us get to 74,000 subscribers.
Crazy, amazing.
Yeah, I know that was so, like, our minds were blown by that yesterday, but we're really, really grateful. And, you know, if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to join the party. You know, we love talking about Big Brother here, and you can support us further by joining our Patreon. That link is in the description. We're talking Big Brother there. We also have exclusive videos, including countdowns starring Jensen Ackles, that are over there. Thank you so much, and we will see you here next time.